tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namassami. Ito parang sakajang dhammo sotapote. Okay, great. Good to see everyone. Been here about a week in Seattle now. I'm starting to acclimatize. I haven't fallen over in the snow like an idiot, so I think I'm doing okay. So far so good. Probably say that and now walk outside and off I go. Yeah, it's been really nice. I've had the chance to meet a lot of you over the past week. It's been really inspiring to see what's happening here and the people that are coming and the people that are offering dana to me every day. Come down to Pike Place in the freezing cold in the morning and come and give me some food. It's been really encouraging to see. And obviously, I've been talking to a lot of people over the last week or so about the pilgrimage that's coming up. Is anybody that's in the room, are they going on the pilgrimage? Oh, there's a fair few of you. Nice. So talking to some other people as well that are about to go on the pilgrimage, and obviously there's a lot of you could say different kinds of feelings that come up when we think about the pilgrimage. There's, for some people there's excitement, some people they have this really uplifting kind of ideal of what the pilgrimage is going to be. Some people, you have like kind of apprehension and resistance. What am I doing? Why am I going here? Why am I joining this big group of people? Even people have sort of doubts, and some people just don't really know what to expect from the pilgrimage. So just as a form of thought, what does, and this is obviously just for everybody, not just for the people that are going on pilgrimage, but what does a pilgrimage mean to everybody? Does anybody have an idea of what yeah? Traveling to a sacred place? Anybody else? Yeah? Yeah? You gonna say so? Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's all of these different kinds of things. And when we think of pilgrimage, we can think of something like pilgrimage, and we can think of a pilgrim as well. And I'm sorry, I don't come from a country that has pilgrims that do Thanksgiving, so you might have this like whole kind of baggage associated with pilgrims. I don't have it, so I'm gonna think of a pilgrim in a different way, of somebody that goes on one of these kinds of journeys. So, but when we think of what a pilgrimage is, yeah, you're right. It's this aspect of going to a physical location that has some kind of meaning for the individual. So obviously for Buddhists, you might go to the Bodhi tree in India, or you might go to any of the other three places in the Buddha's life. For a Muslim, you might go to Mecca. For a Jew, you might go to Jerusalem. For a Christian, you might go to Bethlehem or Rome or something like that. Or even if you're sort of secular, you might go to different places in the world that are associated with history. You might really be, into Egyptology or something, and so on. Going to Egypt is like a pilgrimage in some way, or going and visiting Michelangelo's David in Florence or something like this. So it's this going to a particular place that has some kind of meaning for you. But a pilgrim is different, I think, in some kind of way. A pilgrim is the person that undertakes this pilgrimage. The pilgrim is somebody that wants to go on some kind of journey to find something out and to transform themselves in some kind of way. And through that transformation, understand and learn something about themselves or their existence, and then to bring that back. And to bring that back and bring it into their lives, and to change something about their lives because of that. So we have the external pilgrimage, but we also have the internal pilgrim. So it's an external journey, but it's also an internal journey as well. And so, the next question comes up of like, well, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to go? Well, one, why would you want to physically go somewhere? Or two, why would you want to go on this kind of inward journey? And, I asked Nisabo this. I was like, well, why are you going? You're like, I've been on pilgrimages before, and like with a lot of people, and it's chaotic, and you've got a lot of bags, and you're jumping on trains and flights and all these kinds of things, and there's a lot going on. And so, the question comes up of, well, why would you want to do something like this? And he gave me this really nice answer. He gave me the answer that what his objective is with something like this is to go to the Bodhi tree where things, where Buddhism ostensibly where it started, and to really align the intention of the Clear Mountain community and bring about this intention and start to bring that into the world, but then also go to Thailand and connect with the tradition and connect with the lineage and really sort of, as the way he says it, sit at the feet of the masters and for everybody to be able to connect with that tradition as well. So I think this is a great kind of thing to undertake. And this is something that's very awe-inspiring. It brings up this kind of faith kind of thing. But anybody that knows me knows that I'm a little bit of a pessimist as well. Nisabo's really outflowing, and everything's great, and I'm going to go this, and we get a lot of faith, and I'm like, what could happen? So, with being a pilgrim, being a pilgrim and going on a pilgrimage, it's to inspire faith. But what else is important about a journey, about a pilgrimage? Sorry? The heart, nailed it. Exactly. Part of the journey is the obstacles, the hardships, the trials that you actually might face along the way. This is what causes the transformation. This is the thing, these are the actual things that really you learn from. These are the things that change you as an individual, the obstacles, the trials, the challenges that you face. Anybody that's, maybe sort of familiar with mythology in some kind of way, you might have probably all heard of Joseph Campbell, that the hero's quest or the pilgrim's quest or something like that. It's an archetype, it's a narrative that sort of comes through, and obviously it starts off by the individual, they're in their comfy place, and there's some kind of calling. And the individual never wants to go on this calling. Nobody ever wants to leave. I don't know, where's in The Hobbit? Where is it? The Shire. They don't want to leave the Shire. Yeah, that's right. Nobody wants to leave the Shire, but then they're called to some kind of undertaking, and then the spiritual being comes along, and that's probably like Nisabo in this story. So Nisabo is like a small, bald Gandalf kind of thing with no stick, or so yeah. So then the archetypal spiritual person comes along to guide one out, and then one leaves the Shire, and then starts to face the first sort of obstacle that's there. And once they get through that first obstacle, they're separated from the place that was, and they're in this unknown, and they're in the place that is now. And again, this is where the obstacles start to come up. This is where the challenges start to come up. Once you get out of that comfort zone, this is where all the problems start to come. And through those obstacles and challenges and trials, the individual starts to change until they actually have undergone so much of a change, they go to the final, the final kind of battle or whatever it is, and they eventually get the reward, and then they bring it back. So this is part of a pilgrimage as well. And this is a part of being a pilgrim, is that you have to go out somewhere to get some kind of reward. And there are trials and tribulations that you're going to have to go through for that. And so anybody that's going on the pilgrimage is like, it's going to be difficult. There's going to be some times there, it's like, why did I bother coming? It's like, I can't believe I have to share a hotel room with this person, they snore, or we're sitting on this bus for so long, and all these different kinds of things that come up. There are going to be some challenges that come up. Expectations are going to be subverted in some kind of way at some point along the way. And so what do? What should you expect then from a pilgrimage? Well, obviously, the way I'm going to answer this is, you have to expect the trials. You have to expect the challenges that you're going to face in some kind of way. But I'd also sort of add that it's good to go into these things trying not to expect anything and trying to be very, very open to the experience. Because if you expect something out of this journey, you're not going to get it. It's going to go the wrong kind of way. If you can be very, very open, this is when you can actually transform. If you're expecting something and you're wanting something out of it, transformation won't occur. And it won't occur in the way that you actually want it to, because we always, whenever we go somewhere like this, we always have these expectations of what it's going to be like, and it's never like that. But if we can actually be very open, then actually we open ourselves up to that transformation. I myself went on a pilgrimage to India when I was quite a younger monk, and in all honesty, I didn't want to go. I was only a few punches at the time. I've been a monk for a few years, and my teacher Ajahn, he'd go to India nearly every year, and he just said, "Kevin, you're going." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to go. I don't want to go." It's like, for me, all my spiritual heroes like Ajahn Mun, Ajahn Mahabua, Ajahn Chah, none of these people had gone to India. Like, no, I don't need to go to India. The real practice is here in my own heart. I don't need to go anywhere. I don't need any of this. And being basically a petulant child about it, I'm like, I'm not going. He's like, "You're going." Okay, I have to go, and preparing all the bags, and there's these kinds of things. There's a lot of things going on. You've got a lot of bags, a lot of people. You're going in and out of airports and customs and your passports and all these kinds of things, and it's chaotic. I'm like, I don't want to do this. And the whole time I'm being this kind of arrogant, petulant child about the whole thing, and I'm there and I'm grumpy and all these things. And get on the plane, get to India. And as we're flying in over near, because you fly into Bodh Gaya, you're flying over what's called in the time of the Buddha, it's called the Magadhan country. That's where the Buddha did a lot of his earlier teachings. And you fly in over it, and we're flying over the rice fields. And as we're flying in over the rice fields, I look down, and the way the rice fields are laid out, it's laid out like the robe of a monk. And so a part of our rules, the Buddha actually said, it's like he gave the instructions to Ananda, it's like, this is how you should make your robes, like the rice fields of Magadha. So if you look at probably can't see, but there's like these little crosses and sections on our robes. And I look down, and that's what it was like. And it's like, so there was something sort of switched there. It's like, this is real. Like, this becomes real now. And so the whole trip, there was something totally changed in me. I wasn't expecting it. Again, I was fighting against it. I was fighting against this thing. And getting to these places and going to these places, it brought up a kind of faith in me that I really didn't think I had. Again, as I said, I'm not very much the gushing, happy kind of faith character, but some of those things became very, very real for me. I started to have a lot of those kinds of experiences through doing this, and that was just because of opening up to it. I was resistant to it, but then at some point you just sort of opened up to it, and it really did change me, and it really was quite rewarding to go on that, and I did get a lot out of it, going to the different places, and especially, some of the lesser known places, like, say for example, like Vulture's Peak. It's a rock, and there's these caves, and it's like, well, you know, these things don't really change too much, these caves. So you could think, this is where the Buddha walked, or this is where Sariputta was in this kind of cave and gave this teaching. So these things, it really became really real for me. So what happened was, I'd ordained, and I have this kind of abstract idea of what Nibbana is and what Buddhism is, and it was a very abstract for me, and on that trip, it actually all became real. Something came into being with it, which was really, really inspiring for me. And so, this is the value of a pilgrimage. That it is some kind of transformation. But obviously, a lot of you here, you aren't going on the pilgrimage. But that's fine. What a pilgrim is somebody that tries to undergo this transformation, goes through some sort of tribulations, and is transformed in some way, and then brings that back into their daily life. So, it's I think the ethos of the pilgrimage that's going, it's very, very good. It's about instantiating the Clear Mountain community and having this ideal that we're going to bring this thing into life. And this is actually something all of you can do from here. This is something that you can do within your heart. We practice the Dhamma for some kind of reason. You're doing it to understand something more about your life. You're doing it to transform something about yourself. So anybody that's not going, you can still be a part of this. What you're doing here, as I said this last week, I think it's very inspiring what you're doing here, of building this kind of community first. And this is something that you're actually a part of. This is something that you're going to bring into being. This is something it's just now basically an idea, and you're going to make it a reality in some kind of way. And so this is really part of the pilgrim's path. As I said, there's the external pilgrimage, but then the internal pilgrimage, and this is so important. The internal pilgrimage is, bringing the Dhamma up in our hearts. This is the internal pilgrimage. What we're trying to do is bring the Dhamma up in our hearts. And then if we can bring it into the external pilgrimage of bringing that into the world. And that's what I think you're doing here. You're coming together as a community, having this desire to build this kind of community of people, and then a monastery maybe that's associated with it. So I think everybody can actually be a part of that. Doesn't matter if you go on the external pilgrimage or not. That doesn't really matter. Or the people that are going on the external pilgrimage, that's great, obviously. But really, it's about changing something within yourself, improving something within yourself, going through some kind of obstacle, understanding something, but then bringing it back and bringing it to life and bringing it into your daily life and into your existence. So with that, I hope you develop a lot of the Dhamma within your heart, and I hope you bring the Dhamma into the world through that. So with that, I'll call it a day there. And I don't know what happens next. Going to Q&A. Is it Q&A today, or is it breakout groups, or was there something that needed to be done? Yeah. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I liked what you did last week with the barricade groups. It takes a lot of the onus off me to keep talking. So if you'd like to do a few of those things where you turn to the people that you don't know and break off into groups of three, I think it is, and have a chat about it. And actually, maybe something you could, yeah, you can talk about whatever you want, but maybe if that's something that you can contemplate, like what is a pilgrimage, and what is a pilgrim, and what does that actually mean to you in some kind of way. So I'll give you a few minutes to chat amongst yourselves about that.
And I'll break the.
I really I'm usually in a position where you give a talk and or you've led a meditation. It's like, okay, who's got some questions? And it's like silence. It's like, okay, I just got to ramble. So it's really good. It's really good. You have these like nice icebreakers. So does anybody have any kind of reflections? Anything that came up? Don't give me the silence. Yeah.
Thank you. I love what you said about obstacles because I go on pilgrimages. I go to Japan.
Nice.
And they're all set out like 33 Kannon or Kuan-yin pilgrimages.
Yeah, nice.
And so many obstacles that it becomes a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that I actually have been on trains where I've just been laughing in Japan. And I really appreciate you pointing that out, because rather than, oh my gosh, here it is again, and I took the bus and it's closed and it's 95 degrees, like, I mean, I do learn from it eventually, but to learn from it maybe in the moment. So I really appreciated that. And the other thing is Sophia. Sophia said that it was a pilgrimage for her to get here.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, nice, nice. That's a really good, and most of the time it is. Like, if we think about what a pilgrimage actually is, it doesn't have to be this grand journey that we go on. It can be very, very small things. It can even, again, it could also even be like an internal thing. You can think of the Buddha searching for enlightenment as a kind of pilgrimage as well. So yeah, even the smallest things of going, okay, well let's go to this like school or whatever it is, whatever school, and just walk through the door and see if anybody's there, or all the way up to enlightenment. It's a kind of pilgrimage in some kind of way. So that's really nice.
I'll say one other thing. Maybe it's similar to it's all a pilgrimage, just like it's all meditation.
Nice, very good. Anybody else have any reflections? Yeah.
I think in kind of discussing situations, because not everybody in my group had gone on a spiritual pilgrimage, but we had done things in our lives that kind of resembled that. And I was reflecting on how a lot of times in our life, we have a clear picture of what's in front of us, and when we get somewhere, what it will be like, or our planning, and thinking about the aspect of pilgrimage, that even if you've seen pictures or have an intent on where you're going, the experience can be so foreign or unknown what you're going in. It's really a time where it's set apart from life, and in that there's just an unknowing, and we don't live a lot of our lives in that unknowing space, and that kind of opens it up to see what you're really carrying into a situation.
Yeah, nice, and it's such a huge part of it, the unknowing part of it, and I touched on it a little bit with the expectations that you have. Expectations can blind you in so many ways, and they also can make things troublesome as well, because you expect things to be a certain way and you go into an unknown situation, and by definition this thing is unknown, so you shouldn't really expect something to to happen. But if you have that expectation, you go into this unknown and it doesn't live up to that expectation, you can have this kind of, well, this isn't what I wanted. And so really opening up to that, I think it's such a hard thing to do. And like you were saying, like, in the moment, opening up to that thing in the moment. So it's so hard to do, but if you can do it, that's where you really do get a lot of the rewards. So yeah, nice reflection. Yeah. Yeah.
Just really like this topic.
Nice.
Especially, there's the external pilgrimage, the internal pilgrimage, and how I'm just sort of struck by they're not really separate. Like
No.
And what you were saying about sort of fighting and resisting the whole experience of going and then going and sort of opening.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like daily life.
Yeah. It's a struggle to get out of bed.
So I'm just
I'm in my comfortable bed. I don't want to leave, but I know I have to get out and face something.
Right. Yeah. So just this idea of like going on this huge journey, but then also it's sort of the same as ordinary life.
Yeah. Nice. And it really, if you think about your whole you could say motif of actually undertaking meditative practice or undertaking some kind of spiritual path, the whole thing is a part of it. Is a part of the journey, is a part of this kind of pilgrimage as well. Obviously, yeah, and there's definitely really everything in life is a kind of pilgrimage, but there's also something about maybe you know that you should change in some way, or you know that you should try to improve in some way, but you don't want to. You're sort of safe and you're stuck. I'm like, I don't want to get out of bed, or I don't want to get up and meditate, or I don't want to jump on a plane and shave my head and go into a jungle in Thailand or something like that. I don't want to do I don't want to do these things. But there's that aspect there of, if you can, you're either forced to do it by someone, or you know that yourself that you should do it even though you don't want to do it. There's a momentum there, a power there in that. So if you can tap into that, I think that's such an important thing to actually do. So yeah. Yeah, Steve.
Howdy there, folks. So I'm going to out myself that up until 2 days ago, I was going to go on the pilgrimage, and now I'm not.
Yeah.
And so that's, it's a whole journey. And I was feeling a lot of pain, when you're talking about, because I've been to Asia a bunch of times, and one of my favorite things is getting on a plane and the whole thing, which is part of the discernment, because, for me, I don't get to my life, but my wife and I have been for like 10 years trying to decide what's next, where to live. And somehow the stars, I don't know what's going on with the stars, but they align. So this perfect place on top of a hill at Cottage Lake, surrounded by wetlands, like a nature bubble, came up that we can actually make it happen. And we did it. And now she needs me to be there to process, and not be other side of the globe for 3 weeks. So it was really a heart opening. Because I would have been on a plane to Kathmandu tomorrow morning. Otherwise, I was going to go early. And so painful. But I feel like part of what I'm doing with it is discerning the part of it that wanted to go on a trip versus what was the cutting through to awakening part. And I'm just kind of leveraging into that in this world, because that's what it's about. And you can be, I'll tell her, you can be sitting in Bodhgaya and thinking about ice cream, or you can be sitting here and resting in a nature of mind, so I'll try to go for the latter, and I'm going to use this as a lever to just fire up my focus on awakening. And by the way, the place we're going is, about 25 minutes or 30 minutes out from here. in the direction that Clear Mountain will be in. So we'll be in the zone too.
Nice.
So it's, yeah.
Nice.
But anyway, it's been a struggle, but my, my wife is very appreciative, and that counts for a lot. I'm like learning how to be a better husband in a Dharma way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, like if you reflect as well, part of a pilgrimage is to improve something about yourself, and find something and find some kind of reward, and then bring that back home. That's a really important part of it. We always think about the pilgrimage of going to the place, but we sort of forget that part of that is like bringing this thing back home as well. There's something that you need to bring back into your life. There's something that you need to bring back and make it come into being. And to do that, you have to give something up. You have to let go of something, a part of yourself. You have to let go a part of your identity to be able to do that. Because if you sort of cling to this identity of, wanting to go to this particular kind of place, and you're there, and you're all you do is get stuck in this other new place. But again, it's about letting go of something, being on some kind of journey and changing through that, and then bringing that back into your life. So if you can, whatever it is, if it's making you a better person, if it's making you come into line with the Dhamma more, this is the journey you need to be on. It's not the plane that you need to be on, but this is the kind of journey that you need to be on. So it's good that you have that kind of wisdom faculty there already to actually even start to understand that, because most people would be like, you get bitter at your wife. I hate the new place now. It stopped me going to Kathmandu, but you already have that wisdom there to be able to accept that. So that's a good thing.
No, exactly. It's like, where's your head going to be at 4 weeks from now?
Yeah.
And then just make it post-pilgrimage, even though you didn't do that.
Nice.
And I'll close by saying the great Buddhist aphorism: wherever you go, there you are.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here you are.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Maybe one last one. If anybody has a question or a reflection, yeah.
As I listen to all these awarenesses, I'm getting this kind of fractal sense in the way that the universe repeats itself down and down to smaller and smaller scales, but the same reality happening, the same patterns happening, or outward beyond all imagination for how great it is, and yet it still is itself. And so I'm hearing your pilgrimage beginning as you get out of bed, or as you come through the snow to here, or as you enter into this group and talk and share, and or as you go across the ocean to see the Bodhi tree. As you go deeper and deeper inside, I'm just getting this sense of what today is, I hear so much as fractals, and that the world works this way, that this is reality. I'm getting a sense of that from all the things that everybody's saying.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good reflection, and you can also sort of think of the entirety of one's existence as well. The point of conception to the point of death as well. That's at least the biggest subsection of the fractal that we will experience now, and you even expand it out even further, kind of thing. So yeah, I think there's so many different layers of analysis that you can look at this thing, and at different times they're going to be important for us in different ways. So at sometimes it might be the mundane. The mundane is like, okay, yeah, I gotta get out of bed. That's the most important thing. Or it might be the kind of, well, I'm on my deathbed at this time, and this is now the most important thing, and this is the culmination of this fragmentary existence that I've had. So at any different time, these are going to be different. So we have to just know what is the most important one at any given time as well, and be open and be able to tune into that and to be able to deal with it in the best, again, to be open to transformation in that moment. So yeah. Oh, there's Zoom. Sorry, I forgot Zoom people. There's a whole TV over there. Sorry. Did somebody on Zoom have something to say? I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Sorry. You can unmute. You can unmute yourself if you just want to yell something at me. Sorry.
Hi, Ajahn.
Hi, whoever that is. I can't see that far. Joseph?
I was just wondering if your talk on expectations, is that related to...
You've lost sound, Joseph.
You're muted, Joseph.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So in your talk about expectations, and it reminded me of in the morning chant where it says, not attaining one's wishes is dukkha. Is that related to it? So how do we relate to wishes? Should we not have wishes?
Good question. There's one. It is good to have wholesome aspirations. There's a difference there between what we call chanda, which is you could say like a wholesome desire to do something useful, or to do something beneficial. And there's a difference between chanda and upadana. Upadana is like clinging and wanting things to be a particular kind of way. And so most of the time, the kind of wishes that we're talking about in that particular chant is these wishes of wanting things to be a particular, I want something to be that exact way. Whereas these kinds of wishes of aspirations of wanting to do something good, we know that this can change. We know that this can move. And so am I talking about those kinds of expectations? Well, I guess I'm talking about expectations of and many different kind of levels there. The expectations, and I guess I'm probably leaning a little bit more into the expectations that come about with wanting things to be a particular kind of way, as opposed to the desire to increase and do something beneficial, more about the wanting it to be a particular kind of way. So yeah, those kinds of expectations, I'd say.
Thank you.